Ethyrial is one of the stranger MMO stories I've covered. It launched back in 2023, and by almost every account, it was a disaster. But then the story takes a wild turn. The original developer eventually sold the game to an actual player, a person who looked at the wreckage and believed there was still something worth saving. Today, that player leads Oath Games. The game is completely free to play while in open alpha. The team has been steadily rebuilding almost every system from the ground up. So to be clear, I'm not reviewing the disastrous launch that everyone remembers. I'm reviewing the game that is here today. Well, sort of, because much like Ruins of Tyrian, Ethyrial is still deep in development. And these become incredibly hard to review because I don't always know what's finished or what is a placeholder. When you open the game, you are greeted with 23 different class selections. Luckily, they are organized into 6 distinct archetypes, so character creation doesn't immediately give you a panic attack. But there is one thing you will not find here: playable races. Every single character is human. Your customization comes purely from your appearance. Now, I don't want to unfairly shame an alpha, but y'all already know my feelings about humans in fantasy games. The RP in my RPG feels a little less believable when I'm forced to play a race that I literally already am for every single waking hour of my actual day. I don't want to be a human. I'm already doing that, and it is exhausting. The character models lean heavily into a minimalist, low-poly art style. They are simple rather than highly detailed, featuring flat colors and angular geometry that gives the game a distinctly indie look. Whether you find that charming or dated will probably come down to personal preference. Although during creation, I could change my hairstyle, but the color option refused to work for me, further reinforcing the depressing fact that I am indeed a brown-haired, boring human, both in-game and out. Truly, the immersion is staggering. I couldn't always tell where the art style ended and the finished alpha began, and honestly, that's one of the challenges of reviewing games this early. When I entered the world, I found myself standing in Purgatory. And I have to say, I found this immediately and deeply ironic, because one of the choices during character selection was hardcore mode. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't Purgatory the place you go after you die? Does starting the game in the afterlife automatically negate your hardcore status immediately upon entry? I have questions, Oath Games. I have so many questions. As an actual zone, Purgatory is this dreamlike space of floating platforms, magical torches, and isolated islands suspended in a vast empty darkness, giving the whole area a mysterious, almost puzzle-like feel. And floating platforms like this make me nervous. I do not trust them. I have the spatial awareness of a concussed toddler, and I do not need gravity acting as the primary antagonist in a tutorial area. The Primordial Secretary greets me and sends me on my first quest, Purgatory Protocol. This forces you through a short tutorial, which your first task is to kill wolves. Wolves. Look at that. Can pronounce the letter L. I am emphasizing that because my actual Mountain Billy accent usually makes it sound like wolves, and my YouTube commenters have absolutely noticed. But where I live, the letter L is entirely silent. My regional heritage just wants to say wolves so badly. But today for you, we are hunting wolves. Once you are done terrorizing the local canine population, the tutorial has you work on your gathering. Ethyrial features a fairly traditional system of gathering. You mine ore, chop trees, fish, harvest plants, and even collect some crafting materials. And finally, you've finished the loop with crafting. Ethereal has a fairly robust profession system for an indie MMO. Alongside gathering, you'll find 8 crafting professions, including blacksmithing, leatherworking, tailoring, woodworking, alchemy, cooking, enchanting, and research. It's a traditional crafting system that supports the game's player-driven economy and gives gatherers plenty of reasons to keep collecting resources. Having successfully completed my tutorial, I'm sent to the Solitary Isles. Thankfully, this area is much less platform-like, and I immediately feel vastly more confident moving around without the constant looming threat of plummeting into the cosmic void. And let me tell you, there is absolutely no shortage of quests available in this area. Everywhere I went, I was running into some incredibly excited NPC with a giant exclamation point floating above their head. However, I did struggle a bit with the very first quest I tried to complete. You see, when entering a building in this game, it uses a cutaway view so the roof disappears and you can easily see the interior, except in the attic. The attic where my actual quest took place. In the attic, the cutaway view completely refused to function. So instead of a smooth gameplay experience, I was stuck awkwardly panning my camera around the outside of the building, trying to sneak frantic little peeks of my character through breaks in the graphics, like a desperate fantasy peeping Tom. But you know what? This is the exact moment where we all just look at each other, nod, and collectively say, "Welcome to an alpha. It is beautiful, it is janky, and it is exactly what we signed up for." Overall, I just felt entirely too large for the area. My character model took up an aggressive amount of physical space inside these tight buildings. Ruins of Tyrian actually gave me a similar experience recently. It may just be the specific architectural style that these indie games are consciously going for, but it feels intensely claustrophobic. If I had been running around here with a full group of players, I'm completely convinced the collective body odor alone would have done the combat for us. No weapons required, just pure concentrated fantasy musk clearing out the room. I'm just saying, the space is tight. I felt like I was permanently trapped in a medieval elevator with the ceiling that was actively judging my height. I don't think Ethyrial is ready for everyone. If you're looking for a polished MMO with thousands of players, this isn't it. But if you enjoy watching ambitious indie MMOs evolve, don't mind the occasional rough edge, and you like being part of a small community while a game finds its footing, Ethyrial might be worth keeping an eye on. Some games ask, "Should you play me today?" Ethyrial asks a different question. Can you see what I'm trying to become? And I think that's the right question to ask of an open alpha. Whether the answer is yes depends less on the game and more on the kind of MMO player you are. Until next time, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next world.